السلام علیکم. میرا نام ڈاکٹر محمد انور ہے. میں آپ کے لیے ریسرچ میتھڈز کا کورس شروع کرنے والا ہوں. میں آپ کو ویلکم کرتا ہوں ان دس کورس. یہ ریسرچ میتھڈز کا کورس ہم آئندہ جو سیمسٹر آ رہا ہے اس میں شروع کر رہے ہیں. فار دا سیک آف انٹروڈکشن میں اپنے بارے میں یہ کہوں گا کہ میری بیک گراؤنڈ PhD میں نے کیا کینیڈا سے. میں سوشولوجی کا پروفیسر رہا پنجاب یونیورسٹی میں، اور اب ہم اس کورس کے بارے میں ایسے بات کرتے ہیں کہ یہ کورس جو ہے ریسرچ کے حوالے سے مختلف سبجیکٹس کے لوگوں کے لیے فائدہ مند ہوگا. اس میں سائیکالوجی کے لوگ بھی ہو سکتے ہیں، اس میں سوشیولوجی کے لوگ بھی ہو سکتے ہیں، اس میں بزنس ایڈمنسٹریشن کے لوگ بھی ہو سکتے ہیں، بزنس مینجمنٹ کے لوگ بھی ہو سکتے ہیں، ایڈمنسٹریٹو سائنسز کے لوگ بھی ہو سکتے ہیں. مختلف جو سبجیکٹس کے لوگ ہیں وہ اس سے فائدہ اٹھائیں گے. اور میں یہ کہوں گا کہ وہ لوگ جو کہ ہیومن بیہیویئر کے ساتھ ڈیل کرتے ہیں، اصل میں یہ کورس ان کے لیے زیادہ فائدہ مند ہوگا. آپ کہہ لیں کہ اس کورس ان دا سوشل سائنسز اور دا سوشل ریسرچ اور بزنس ریسرچ، اس میں مختلف جو سبجیکٹس ہیں دا اسٹوڈنٹس فرام دوز ایریاز کوڈ بینیفٹ. تو اس حوالے سے آپ کے اگر کلائنٹس جو ہیں وہ ہیومن بینگس ہیں، یو آر ڈیلنگ ود دا ہیومن بینگس، یو آر ٹاکنگ اباؤٹ دی کنزیومر بیہیویئر، یو آر ٹاکنگ اباؤٹ دی لیٹس سے اسٹوڈنٹس اور اسٹوڈنٹس پارٹیسپیشن اور کسٹمر سیٹسفیکشن کی بات کرتے ہیں، لیبر کی بات کر رہے ہیں، مینجمنٹ کی بات کر رہے ہیں، پروڈکٹس ہیں کہ وہ ان کی ایفیشنسی جو ورکرز ہیں ان کی ایفیشنسی پہ ایفیکٹ ہو رہا ہے، جو کنزیومر ہیں اس پروڈکٹ کیسے لے رہے ہیں، مارکیٹنگ کی بات کر رہے ہیں. تو میرا خیال ہے کہ مختلف جو سبجیکٹس کے لوگ ہیں دے کین بینیفٹ فرام ہیئر. میں صرف اتنا ہی کہوں گا کہ اینی ویئر ویئر وی آر ٹاکنگ اباؤٹ دی ہیومن بیہیویئر، وہاں پر یہ جو کورس ہے ول بی یوزفل فار دا پیپل. تو یہاں پر آ کر میں آپ کو یہ کہوں کہ یہ سبجیکٹ جو ہے یا جو کورس ہے، اس کو ہم کوئی ایک لینگویج سے نہیں، پرابلی انگریزی اور اردو دونوں کو ہی اس میں ہم شاید مکس اپ کر کے اس کو ہم چلائیں گے. تو اس طرح سے آپ کے لیے کوئی ایسی بات نہیں ہے کہ ہم انگریزی میں کر رہے ہیں یا انگریزی میں اردو میں کر رہے ہیں. there are many concepts which might be used in English. تو ان کا اپروپریٹ اردو میں کوئی سبسٹیچیوٹ ملا ہے تو I will use that. اگر نہیں ہے تو ہم کوشش کریں گے کہ جو انگریزی کا ہے لفظ اسی کو ہی مزید آسان لفظوں میں آپ کے ساتھ ہم شیئر کریں. تو یہ کورس جو ہے will be covered in let's say 45 lectures. On the whole 45 lectures, each one of the lectures might be of 55 minutes duration. تو اس میں ہم آپ کو کوشش کریں گے کہ یہ پورا جو اس کا کانٹینٹ ہے وہ ہم اس کو کور کر سکیں. تو اس کورس کے اگر ہم دیکھیں کہ کانٹینٹس کی بات کر رہے ہیں تو میں آپ کو یہ کہوں گا کہ اسٹارٹنگ فرام لیٹس سے سلیکشن آف دی ٹاپک آف ریسرچ آل دا وے ٹو دی کمپلیشن آف دی ہول ریسرچ پروسیس ہم اس میں کور کرنے کی کوشش کریں گے. تو اس پروسیس میں جہاں میں نے بات کی کہ کویشچن ہے، کسی کے ذہن میں آتا ہے کہ وہ کویشچن کا ہم نے جواب ڈھونڈنا ہے، اور let's say maybe in a particular situation somebody comes, how come so many students fail in a particular subject? How come the efficiency of the workers have gone down? How come the customers are not purchasing a particular product? or what is the impact of a particular, let's say, marketing campaign on the sale of that particular product. So these could be various questions which pop up in the minds of a person. Now that person could be a manager of a particular organization. That person could be a teacher in a particular class. That could be an administrator in an educational institutions. तो ये मुख्तलिफ लोगों के लिए I think this course is going to be very useful. इस वक्त maybe you are just a student and maybe you're working someplace as well. So obviously once you finish your studies and you are in a particular career, I expect many of you would be occupying administrative positions or some other positions where they would like to make use of the information for taking certain decisions. तो उस लिहाज से मैं आपको ये भी कहूँगा कि you may not be, maybe you are a very big officer or executive manager or some officer. You may not be doing research yourself. You may be asking others to conduct research for you, but I would say that if you are well conversant with the research methodologies, then you are in a better position to understand what the researchers are going to bring to you or what kind of information they are going to bring to you. Therefore, to know about research, to know about the methodologies is very essential, whether a person is directly doing research or whether a person is trying to ask others to do research for them. As a manager, you could always hire an individual, or you can hire, let's say, a consultancy firm to look into the issues of your organization. And you might give them, let's say, a TOR, and they could do some work for you. Therefore, I think it's very essential that a person in any capacity, in any decision-making kind of a capacity, the person could understand the research methodology. Therefore, I think it's very, very essential that you know the basics of research so that you can do research yourself, you can open up your own consultancy firm, or you could get others do research for you, thereby developing some kind of terms of reference, asking people to really come down with the nitty-gritties of the situation. And this is how probably people can't fool you around. So that is how the research is very essential for anybody who is in the management or any kind of situation. Not only that, I would say even research is very essential or useful for the parents as well, who are handling the children, who are interested in the socialization of the children, who might be taking the children, let's say, to a marketplace where they might be doing all kinds of shopping. So therefore, the marketing, like the advertisement which you have, now those advertisements actually have an impact on the consumers. Now, amongst the consumers is the family, is the parents, is the youngsters, is the old people. Now, how do they react to that? How does this have an impact on the minds of those people? So I would say that research is very essential for people who are engaged in different positions in society, particularly if they are in decision-making kind of positions. So from there on, I would say that you would like to come and absorb yourself in this whole of the research process so that we could really get something out of it. So I look at this course from two perspectives. One could be that we have a theoretical kind of coverage. Theoretical coverage implies that we will be discussing the main topics what we have outlined. In this, as I said earlier, there will be 45 lectures, and in each lecture we will be covering different kind of, let's say, aspects of research or different topics. Now that will be more of a discussion, explanation of the things. میں نے اس کو تھیوریٹیکل کہہ دیا اس لیے کہ اس کے ساتھ ہم شاید ایکسرسائز کو اس وقت نہیں ایسوسیٹ کر رہے، لیکن میں ایکسرسائز کو یا اسی تھیوریٹیکل ڈسکشن کو پریکٹیکلی کر کے دیکھنا چاہتا ہوں، اور میں چاہوں گا کہ آپ لوگ اس کو پریکٹیکلی بھی کریں. تو اس طرح سے اس کورس میں جو ہم یہاں ڈسکشن کریں گے کوشش کریں گے کہ اس کو ہم پریکٹیکلی بھی کر کے دیکھیں. تو اس طرح سے اگر ہم اس کورس کو 2 حصوں میں کریں تو ایک تھیوریٹیکل ڈسکشن ہوگی، دوسرا ایکسرسائزز ہوں گی، اور ان ایکسرسائزز کو آپ نے کرنا ہوگا، اور وہ ایکسرسائزز جو ہم تھیوریٹیکلی ڈسکس کر رہے ہیں اس کے حوالے سے ہی آپ وہ exercises کریں گے. So there might be 6 to 8 exercises. Of course those will be graded as well. لیکن بیسک آئیڈیا ان ایکسرسائزز کا ہے کہ ہم نے جو تھیوریٹیکلی پڑھا ہے اس کو پریکٹیکلی ہم کر کے دیکھیں. اگر کویشچن سے ہم کسی کویشچن سے ریسرچ شروع ہوتی ہے تو کین وی ریئلی فارمولیٹ ریسرچ کویشچن؟ کین یو تھنک آف سم ایریا in which probably you want to find an answer, something which is agitating the mind of a person. آپ اس سوال کا جواب ڈھونڈنا چاہتے ہیں. ایک لیٹس سے BA/BSc کا رزلٹ آیا پنجاب یونیورسٹی کا، اس میں بہت سارے اسٹوڈنٹس جو ہیں وہ فیل ہو گئے. تو the question comes to the mind of an individual کہ how come so many students have failed? So what could be the answer to that? Can we convert this question that how come so many students failed into a research kind of question? تو اگر ہم نے اس پہ ریسرچ کرنی ہوگی تو ہم پھر کیا سٹیپس اس میں فالو کریں گے، اس کا پروسیس کیا ہوگا. یہ تو ایک ایسی سچویشن میں نے اس کی طرف اشارہ کیا which is more like an undesirable kind of situation کہ بھائی اتنے سارے اسٹوڈنٹس فیل ہو گئے. Maybe 2/3 of the students failed, more than 60% of the students failed. That's an undesirable kind of situation. It bothers an individual. لوگوں کا پیسے لگائے ہیں، وقت لگایا ہے، تو وہ how come so many students failed? So we want to overcome that kind of situation. Undesirable ہے. اسی میں ایک اور ایسے ہی بات آتی ہے کہ بہت سارے لڑکیاں جو ہیں they have excelled the boys. اب یہاں پر again somebody can have a question and say کہ how come the girls have really excelled the boys? It may not be an undesirable situation, but it is simply a question جس کو ہم کہتے ہیں ایک inquisitive قسم کی بات ہے، تجسس ہے، something which is agitating the mind of an individual. اور وہ یہ ڈھونڈنا چاہتا ہے کہ what are the factors which really have motivated the girls to really work hard and they have excelled the boys. یہ دونوں ہی چیزیں اس میں آ سکتی ہیں. تو کہنے کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ we could start from a particular question، اور وہ question کو ہم کیسے آگے چلائیں گے، یہ سارا اس ریسرچ کے حوالے سے میں بات کرنا چاہتا ہوں. تو اس کورس میں آپ کو یہ کہوں گا کہ اسٹارٹنگ فرام دی سلیکشن آف دی ٹاپک آف ریسرچ اور دی کویشچن فار ریسرچ آل دا وے ہم چلیں گے اس کا لاجک ڈیولپ کرنے کے حوالے سے، اس کا کوئی تھیوریٹیکل فریم ورک بنانے کے حوالے سے، اس کا کوئی اگر ہائپوتھیسس بنانے کی ضرورت ہے تو ہائپوتھیسس بنانے کے حوالے سے. پھر ہم ریسرچ ڈیزائن کی بات کرتے ہیں، پھر اس میں ٹولز آف ڈیٹا کلیکشن کی بات آتی ہے، پھر ہم فیلڈ میں جاتے ہیں، فیلڈ میں جا کر ہم ڈیٹا وغیرہ کلیکٹ کرتے ہیں. اس ڈیٹے کو پھر ہم کیا کریں گے، پروسیس کیسے کریں گے، کمپیوٹر میں ڈالیں گے، مینولی کریں گے. اس کے اوپر پھر ہم اگلی بات ہے کہ رپورٹ لکھیں گے. اینڈ دین وی ول ٹرائی ٹو ٹیسٹ our hypothesis or try to see whether this research has really given us the answer to the question from where we started. So in a way, I'm talking about the whole research process which is taken care of, which takes care of the research which somebody has to do. Research process ہے میں مراد یہی کہوں گا کہ وہ steps جو کہ ایک ریسرچر بگننگ سے اینڈ تک لیتا ہے. تو اس میں ہم یہ کریں گے کہ وی ول واک تھرو دا ہول ریسرچ پروسیس. آپ کو اس سے ہم سینسٹائز کریں گے سارے جو اسٹیپس ہیں ان کے حوالے سے. تو اس طرح سے میں آپ کو یہ بتاؤں کہ when you finish, by the time you complete this research course, I would say کہ اگر آپ پہلی تو میں یہ کہوں گا کہ you will be in a position to do your research. دوسرا اس کے ساتھ میں یہ کہوں گا کہ اگر آپ ریسرچ نہیں کرنا چاہتے، نہیں کرتے ہیں، آپ کی ایک ایسی پوزیشن میں ہے probably you can hire a consultancy firm for doing research for you. So you are in a better position to understand the research which is conducted by others. تو ہم جب بات کر رہے تھے کہ ریسرچ میتھڈس کے حوالے سے کہ ہم کیا کریں گے، تو let me summarize all this into number of objectives of this particular course. تو ان آبجیکٹیوز کو اگر ہم ایک ایک کر کے دیکھیں تو شاید اس طرح سے بات بنے گی کہ اس کورس کی وجہ سے it's likely to sharpen the analytical skills based on objective and pragmatic investigation. اس کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ it's going to develop an analytical skill کہ آپ اس کو انالیسس کریں گے، اور اس انالیسس میں بات آ رہی ہے لاجک کی بات آ رہی ہے، آرگیومنٹس کی بات آ رہی ہے، جسٹیفیکیشنس کی بات آ رہی ہے. تو ان سکلز کے ساتھ ساتھ ناٹ اونلی کہ لاجک کی بات ہے بلکہ ان این آبجیکٹو مینر. آبجیکٹو مینس ان اے ڈسپیشنیٹ وے. ڈسپیشنیٹ مینس کہ جہاں کہ ہم اپنی سبجیکٹو فیلنگس کو، لائکنگز اور ڈس لائکنگس کو ایک طرف رکھتے ہوئے ایک ان بائسڈ طریقے سے ہم کسی چیز کو انالیسس کریں، کسی چیز کی ریسرچ کریں. تو دس کورس از لائکلی ٹو ہیلپ in sharpening that kind of let's say skills of an individual, so that the person tries to make an analysis of the situation without bringing in personal biases in the situation. Because if we bring the bias in a particular analysis, تو اس ڈیٹے کی یا اس ریسرچ کی پیورٹی جو ہے وہ پھر ڈیمیج ہو جاتی ہے. اگر ہم اپنی پرسنل فیلنگس کو اس میں لائیں گے تو آبویسلی کہ جو پیور چیز ہے اس میں اڈلٹریشن ہو جائے گی، اس میں کنٹامینیشن ہو جائے گی. اینڈ اینی تھنگ وچ از کنٹامینیٹڈ، اینی تھنگ وچ از اڈلٹریٹڈ، وی ڈونٹ ایکسپیکٹ دیٹ اٹس گوئنگ ٹو گیو اس دی ٹرو پکچر، going to give us the true results. And if we don't get the true results تو پھر ہماری ریسرچ جو وہ بیکار ہوگی. تو اس کے ساتھ ہی آبجیکٹو کے لفظ لکھا ہے جیسے کہ pragmatic means we are talking about something which is rational means which is based on logic, which is based on arguments. So that is, I think, one important focus of this study, that we as researchers and you as participants in the research are going to look into the situation in an entirely objective kind of manner, and obviously you are going to use logic and argument over there. And second objective could be develop your understanding of the research concerns. Research concerns means the areas which might be in need of doing some research. Research concern means something which is bothering, something which is undesirable, something which is a problem in the society, in the organization, or in a particular situation. So that is how, if we have this knowledge of the research, we are in a better position to understand the research concerns. We could, let's say, dig out the factors, we could dig out the reasons, and अगर मैं थोड़ी सी technical लफ्ज़ यहाँ बोलूँ, तो from factors I could use the word, let's say, variables in which we are interested. Now, variables, how to convert a particular concept into a variable, how to then try to measure those variables, and then how to make connections between those variables, means the causes and the effects, the factors and its implications. I think all these things are going to be part of it, and I think that's going to be the second objective, that's developing your understanding of the research concerns of the organization, of the management, of a teacher, of a family member, of the customers, and whatever is the area of interest. Thirdly, with the help of this course, it's likely to help in developing the ability to convert the research concern into a research problem. इसकी तरफ मैंने पिछले objective के हवाले से थोड़ा सा refer किया कि not only that we understand कि what is the issue, what's the problem, what is the undesirable kind of situation, but then how to convert that problematic situation into a research situation. The question is there, but that question has to be converted into a research question. So for a research question, then we look into kind of measurements, we try to look into the methodologies and things like that. So that's the third kind of objective, which probably we are likely to achieve through that. Fourthly, prepare a roadmap or blueprint of the research. Means that once we have decided about the area of interest or the topic of research, now how to proceed from there. So what do? What kind of information are we looking at? Whom do we consult? Is it going to be some kind of revelation to the person, or the person is going to consult, let's say, the previous information, previous studies which people have conducted? We might call it as a review of the existing literature. इससे पहले किसी ने इसके ऊपर काम किया है, अगर किया है तो maybe what guidelines do we get out of that? And also we might talk with the management who is asking us to do the study. We might be looking at some of the informants who have the information about that. Keeping that in mind, then we try to develop the roadmap for carrying out that particular research. Now, while doing research, there could be different techniques of doing research. उसमें आप survey research की बात कर सकते हैं, उसमें आप कोई experiment करने की बात भी हो सकती है, उसमें कोई participant observation की बात भी हो सकती है, उसमें in-depth interviews हो सकते हैं, उसमें कहीं group interviews भी हो सकते हैं, कहीं focus group discussions भी हो सकती है. तो ये बहुत सारी methodologies हैं, और इन methodologies में the researcher has to choose something which is appropriate for that particular topic of research. उसमें he could depend on just one technique of doing research, or he could combine more than one. Therefore, we leave it to the researcher's understanding where he is focusing only on one methodology or he is going to use more than one methodology, because the idea is to reach the truth. And if he could reach the truth by combining more than one methodology, that's fine with that. Now, then once the person has really made the roadmap, then perhaps the fifth and the last objective over here could be to actually carrying out the study. So the person goes to the field and starts from the collection of data and then tries to make the variables, tries to develop his tools of data collection, brings the data, puts into the computer, or depending upon the facilities available. आजकल के ज़माने में तो computer की facility, I think so obvious, so very much there. So in most of the cases, people try to enter the data into the computer and then do the data processing and then writing the report. I think this is how I'm looking at this course, and this is how I'm looking at some of the objectives. And the idea is to prepare the students, number one, doing research themselves or understanding the research of the others, depending upon what is your working position in the society. Okay, as a student too, you might have to do some research, maybe as part of your completion of the degree program. In many cases, the students, when they are completing their degrees, they have to do research, write a thesis, and for writing thesis, again, you need all this kind of training. And certainly, this course is likely to prepare you for that particular purpose as well. Now, in terms of methodologies, as I said earlier, we will be having a number of lectures, maybe 45 lectures of 55 minutes duration. तो उसमें हम आपको देखेंगे कि how do we progress. We will try to cover all the courses, all the let's say topics which we have outlined in these courses, in this outline. Now, with respect to the grading, I think I have proposed that we might give 30% for the midterm exam and maybe 40% for the final exam and 30% for the exercises which you are going to do. As I said earlier, that this course will be run on both on the theoretical basis as well as on the practical basis as well. So you will be given number of assignments and each assignment is likely to be graded, and some tentatively I'm suggesting that this is the distribution of grades. It may have to be changed given the policy of the university. Then, well, I have to suggest some books as well. For purposes of books, I could suggest from two perspectives. One, the main textbook which you will like to buy if you have to, and then some books which might be considered as supplementary kind of books as well. Now, in the textbook, I would say I have suggested Newman's book. That's a 2000 publication. That's the one which I could get. Maybe there's a new edition. I'll try to find out. If I find it, then I'll suggest it later on. Its title is Social Research Methods, both Qualitative and Quantitative Approaches. I'm suggesting this also because it's available in the market. It's not very expensive books, maybe 150 rupees at the most. So basically the whole course outline has been geared towards the use of the material from this particular book. The course outline which I have prepared and I have suggested, for each topic I have recommended the reading, and that reading is coming from this particular book. So maybe it might be of good thing. It might be a good thing to buy the book and maybe do the reading, because I'm not likely to cover everything what is in the book. One thing I may say, that this book is a foreign publication, and some people might be allergic to that kind of thing, but the basic ideas are the same with respect to the research, whether it's in this country or in another country. The difference could come when we talk about the examples. So the basic terminology, the explanation of the terminologies, I think it might be a good idea to use this book. But for purposes of examples, I would like to give you the examples from my own society, from Pakistani society, to make you people, everybody, understand. And obviously, when you are looking into the assignments and the selection of the topic, you will also be trying to focus on your surroundings, your society, and that's how I look at that. Then I have also suggested some supplementary reading materials. 2 books I have suggested. One is Zygmunt's Business Research Methods, and the other is Saccharin's Research Methods for Business. So these 2 books are also available in the market in very cheap editions, like maybe 150 rupees or about that price. So if you feel like, if you are really a person who would like to get material from different angles, different perspectives, obviously you can look at that. Also, if you are a business a student in the business, let's say administration kind of thing, you might be getting more good example closer to your subjects in perhaps these 2 books. Now, with that background, which was more of an introduction to this particular course, now the question is, let's start with what is actually research. What does it mean when we say research? If you simply close your eyes and see what's research, maybe something comes to your mind, like people working in a laboratory, people wearing white gowns and maybe having test tubes someplace, or Bunsen burners on some other kind of equipment, or some people maybe having a questionnaire in their hands, moving from one person to another person, interviewing someplace, or somebody using the computer and data kind of thing. Now, what is research? In fact, now research, if you have to really look into the meaning of research, it is simply collection of information. It's the gathering of the data, that data which is relevant to the question which you have really formulated in the beginning of the whole exercise. The question is there, and you and I want to find an answer to that question. Now, what kind of information is appropriate, relevant to answer that question? Because with the information which you have, which we get, we try to solve that particular problem. Now, I'm saying here a problem. Generally speaking, problem, when people look into the problem, they simply say it is something which is undesirable. Undesirable, people want to overcome that. But when I look at the problem, I might be looking at in a generic kind of way. Problem can be an undesirable situation. Problem can also be some question which is coming to the mind of an individual, which is agitating the mind of a person, and he wants to find an answer to that question. So I am here looking at neither as an undesirable situation nor the other way around. I'm just looking at it as a research problem. And when I say research problem, that could be both ways. It could be an undesirable situation, or it could be a situation which you simply want to find an answer. कि भाई वो जैसे पुरानी बात कि अच्छा जी सेब जो है वो नीचे क्यों गिरा, ऊपर को क्यों नहीं गया. But that was not an undesirable situation, but that was a question जो तजस्सुस की बात है, और उस तजस्सुस के हवाले से the person wants to find an answer to that kind of situation. So what is research? Research simply means the gathering of information, collection of information with respect to the question which we have in our mind. Now, that's one way to look at. But when we are talking about in this particular course, then we are looking at a systematic way of doing the research. Now, systematic or organized way of doing research. System means we develop a system, we develop a procedure, we develop something which we don't keep it to ourselves. Perhaps we would like to share it with others as well. So that's how we look at. Now, system which I have followed, and I don't keep it as a secret. I share it with others. I tell others how did I reach that conclusion. Therefore, if somebody else wants to verify it, wants to see that whether I have really followed a certain methodology and have come up with the real kind of answer to that, then perhaps that's what is a systematic kind of thing, and that's an organized kind of way of doing the research. Now, another thing is in this, why people want to do research. What is the value of doing research? Now, can you think of why people want to do research? And obviously, one answer you could give is that, okay, we had the question, and because we had the question, we wanted to find an answer. And question was with respect to an undesirable situation, like why the motivation of the workers has gone down. How about the motivation of the students? How about the participation level of the students? How about the introducing new methodology of teaching, for example? Maybe new working arrangement in an organization. So why people want to do research? Like the businessman is there, he is there to make a profit. He is not going to undergo a loss. And if his organization is undergoing a loss, obviously he is going to find out, okay, what are the reasons for that kind of loss which his organization is coming. So what is the value of research? So value of research is perhaps I would say to find an answer, and by finding an answer to overcome that undesirable situation. I gave you the example of let's say results of the BA BSc examination of the Punjab University. We find that more than 50%, probably 60% and above, the students failed. Now, does it mean that this is an undesirable situation? If it is an undesirable situation, okay, the question is, why so many people failed? So with that respect, I would say that it's a value of research that we would like to overcome that undesirable situation. And I think that's very, very valuable. If we could diagnose what are the factors which contribute to that undesirable situation, then we would try to hit those factors, attack those factors, and try to improve upon the situation. Because on the face of it looks it's a lot of wastage, and we don't want to have that kind of wastage of the time of the students, of the teachers, of the organization, and the finances as well. But then I also said every question may not relate to undesirable situation. Other things could also come with simply person wants to solve a jigsaw kind of puzzle. Okay, something comes to the mind of a person, wants to see why is it so. And with that, maybe the efficiency of the situation goes up. And obviously, when we look at the what's the value of the research, there we actually see that what's the cost and what's the benefit. So people talk about the cost-benefit kind of analysis. Management is going to look into how much cost is going to be for doing this research and what will be the benefit of that. And obviously, they are going to decide on the cost-benefit kind of analysis. Although time also comes in, whether there is enough time to do research or conducting research or not. Or also, maybe depends upon if they already have, or the question is there, the research question is there, but whether we go for research or not, that also depends. If enough information is already available, then the organization may not go for real research. Therefore, I would say the research is so important that our whole, I think, work arrangement is governed by different kind of situations where we need research. And some people, as I said earlier, some people might think the research is a difficult kind of job, but then people do enjoy doing research. It offers the pleasures of solving a puzzle. So that's an intriguing kind of thing. So let's find it out. And because of that, I think you could well appreciate the progress in the science, where we find that we are looking into the solutions to different problems of different nature. Could be problems in the area of health, could be problems in the area of education, problems in the area of crime, and problems in the area of, let's say, business organization or administration, or even areas like family. I think there is no area which probably we do not cover. Wherever there are human beings working, the issues come, and issues also create problems as well. So one, we might be solving the puzzles, solving the problems, and at the same time, when we are doing research, we would be developing knowledge as well. We will be creating knowledge. We will be generating knowledge, because we are trying to reach the truth. And when we are trying to reach the truth, obviously we would be developing some kind of theories of, let's say, motivation, theories related to human behavior, theories why people follow a certain kind of pattern of behavior, situations of conflict, situations of cooperation, situations of competition, why people in one organization are more motivated than people in another organization. So how do we explain all those kind of things? So knowledge which is generated, created at one place or in another place at one time or another time, this knowledge is not, I would say, in a disjointed kind of situations. This is integrated, and out of that, the researchers try to formulate the theories, formulate some kind of general principles or laws or different models of behavior. Therefore, if we are looking at the research, why do we do research? So we are trying to generate the theories, and also we are trying to identify the causes of a particular undesirable situations, and if we can diagnose the whole situation, obviously we move on to its solution. At the same time, I would also say that in addition to the finding of solutions, in addition to the development of theories, we also see that during the research, the course of doing research, the researchers try to develop different methodologies, new techniques of doing research, whether these are quantitative, qualitative, or the mixture of the two. So that's another, I think, aspect of why people do research. Solving problem is fine, that's somebody else. But then creation of knowledge, that might be a pure kind of research or a basic kind of research, something which is a theoretical kind of thing. So knowledge is there, the theory has been developed at one time. The goal of the research could be the development of a theory. Goal of research could be finding a solution to something. Although, for the sake of distinction, I might be dividing them or keeping them separately, but in reality, they support each other. The theory which has been developed at the moment, maybe after a month or 6 months or year, the same theory might be utilized for solving an undesirable situation. But at the same time, I would say, when I'm trying to solve an undesirable, overcome an undesirable situation, it might help in developing some principles as well, developing some models of the situation as well. Solving a problem is one thing, but at the same time, creation of knowledge is there, and that created knowledge is added to the existing body of knowledge. Now, this new knowledge, does it support the previous knowledge, or does it refute the previous knowledge? Now, it depends. How do we look at that? And thirdly, I said that also, while doing research, the researchers try to develop new methodologies. Methodologies, one may be the collection of data. They might develop new tools for data, for the collection of data. They might develop new methodologies for making an analysis. Okay, so look at the computer. I think that's an instrument which people are using now. Previously, we used to feed the data sitting somewhere in the laboratory. Now, people might be carrying the whole thing while they are working in the field as well. So directly, person is talking, and directly the data is being fed over there. So previously, maybe we used to go to the person and have a questionnaire in our hands and talk with the person. People now, new technologies have come in. The telephone is there. In many cases, we try to contact the people, collect the information on telephone. Now we are using the computer for collecting information from the people. But depends upon, again, the development level of the people as well. If on the other side, if people, our respondents have the telephone, okay, that's a good technique to do it. And thereby, if you are talking about with the telephone, the data might be recorded automatically in our mechanical kind of system. So new techniques of or new tools of data collection might emerge. Also, you could say not only the data collection, but also data analysis as well. Now, previously we might be using these computers only for what you call the quantitative kind of information. Now we have programs on the computer which could be used for the analysis of the qualitative data as well. So these are the new kind of things which come in. These are part of the research. Similarly, maybe we are looking at the mixing up of the quantitative and the qualitative kind of approaches. And there, again, we are trying to make use of the computers. Then you could also look into the analysis, okay? So basically, previously, we have been focusing a lot more on statistical kind of analysis. So what kind of statistical analysis? Maybe new things come in, and we try to look into those things. So on the whole, then I would say, when we are looking at this research, We are surrounded by social research, starting from the family all the way looking into any walk of life of the people. I would say that we are in need of information. We have all kinds of concerns, and in order to overcome all kinds of concerns, I think without research it's not possible to overcome the undesirable situations, generate the knowledge, and then perhaps we would like to look into how to let's say do research. So we are looking at both in the applied kind of research and as well as in the pure kind of research. So the two cannot be separated. Some people might be busy more in pure kind of research, others might be busy in applied kind of research. तो इस तरह से इस कोर्स की मैंने अगर बात करें तो मैंने आपको इसकी सारी बैकग्राउंड बताई. तो हम इसमें क्या कुछ करेंगे, इसकी मेथडोलॉजी के बारे में बातें हुई. तो ज़ाहिर है कि हम रिसर्च से नॉलेज भी क्रिएट करते हैं और नॉलेज साइंटिफिक नॉलेज भी हो सकता है. वो नॉलेज जिसको हम एक ख़ास सिस्टम के तहत करते हैं, हासिल करते हैं या क्रिएट करते हैं, जनरेट करते हैं. Maybe that's a scientific kind of knowledge. It also implies that knowledge can also be non-scientific. Well, what is science and what is scientific knowledge? ये हम अगले लेक्चर में कवर करेंगे. आज की जो बात है मेरा ख्याल है हम यहाँ ख़त्म करते हैं और I hope you are encouraged to put in your best efforts in learning this research methodology, and I'm sure as we proceed you will get more and more interest, you will be more and more intrigued, rather go deep into it and try to find answers to the questions which may come to your mind yourself, or questions which might be coming to the minds of others and they might be asking you to find an answer to those very questions. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz. Baki next time.